The topic of minimum wage has long been a subject of intense debate in the United States. For decades, policymakers, economists, workers, and business owners have wrestled with the question, what is the right level for the minimum wage? Should it be raised to reflect the rising cost of living and help reduce poverty? Or would an increase harm businesses and lead to job losses? Recently, a bold proposal has gained traction among some lawmakers and activists to increase the federal minimum wage to $20 per hour. This is a significant jump from the current federal minimum wage of $7.25, nearly tripling the base pay for millions of American workers. In this video, we will explore the many facets of what would happen if the United States raised its minimum wage to $20 per hour. We'll look at the potential economic benefits and drawbacks, the impact on workers and businesses, regional variations, social implications, and the broader effects on the national economy. This is a complex issue with no simple answers, and the outcome would depend on numerous factors, from how quickly the increase is implemented to accompanying policies that might be enacted. First, let's consider why the idea of raising the minimum wage to $20 has gained momentum. In many parts of the country, especially urban areas with high costs of living, the current minimum wage does not provide a livable income. Millions of workers struggle to cover basic expenses such as housing, food, healthcare, and transportation. Raising the minimum wage aims to ensure that full-time workers earn enough to support themselves and their families, reducing poverty and dependence on government assistance programs. A $20 minimum wage would be transformative for low-wage workers. For someone working 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, this wage would translate to an annual income of $41,600 before taxes. Compared to the current annual income at $725, which is roughly $15,080, this is a dramatic increase. It could lift many workers out of poverty and improve quality of life by allowing better access to housing, education, and healthcare. However, the effects on businesses, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, would be significant. Labor costs are a major expense for businesses that rely on minimum wage workers, such as restaurants, retail stores, and service industries. Doubling or tripling wage expenses could lead some businesses to increase prices to cover costs, reduce employee hours, automate jobs, or even close down if profitability is compromised. The increase in labor costs might also lead to job losses, as some economists warn. Employers may be reluctant to hire as many workers at a higher wage, or may replace low-skill positions with machines and technology. This could disproportionately affect young workers, entry-level employees, and those with fewer skills or less experience. On the other hand, higher wages could boost consumer spending, as low-income workers tend to spend most of their earnings on goods and services. This increased demand could stimulate economic growth and potentially create new jobs in other sectors. It could also reduce turnover rates and improve worker productivity and morale. Another important consideration is the regional variation in the cost of living across the United States. While $20 per hour might be livable in expensive cities like New York, San Francisco, or Boston, it could be prohibitively high in rural areas or smaller towns where living costs are lower. Implementing a uniform national minimum wage at this level could exacerbate economic disparities between regions and strain local businesses. Some have proposed regional or state-level minimum wages that reflect local economic conditions. Others suggest a phased approach, gradually increasing the minimum wage over several years to allow businesses and the economy to adjust. From a fiscal perspective, raising the minimum wage to $20 could reduce government spending on social welfare programs by increasing incomes and reducing poverty. Programs such as food stamps, Medicaid, and housing assistance might see decreased enrollment, potentially saving taxpayers money. However, the increase in wages could also lead to higher payroll taxes and increased costs for government contractors who pay workers at or near minimum wage. In terms of inflation, some argue that a higher minimum wage would push prices upward across the economy. Businesses might pass on increased labor costs to consumers through higher prices, which could erode the purchasing power of wage increases. This inflationary effect could create a feedback loop, requiring further wage increases to keep pace with rising costs. The impact on income inequality is another critical aspect. proponents argue that a $20 minimum wage would narrow the wage gap by lifting the bottom earners and reducing poverty. Critics worry that the increase could compress wages, potentially limiting opportunities for workers to advance beyond the new minimum wage level, and reducing the incentive to acquire additional skills. Automation and technological change could accelerate in response to higher labor costs. Employers might invest more heavily in robotics, artificial intelligence, and other labor-saving technologies to reduce reliance on human workers. While this could improve efficiency, it might also reduce employment opportunities for low-skilled workers. On the other hand, the rise in wages could encourage workers to pursue further education and training to qualify for higher-paying jobs. This dynamic could lead to a more skilled workforce in the long term, but might also leave some workers behind if they lack access to education or retraining programs. The social implications of raising the minimum wage to $20 are broad. Higher incomes could improve health outcomes by enabling workers to afford better nutrition, healthcare, and living conditions. It could reduce stress and improve mental health. Increased earnings might also lead to higher rates of homeownership, savings, and financial stability for low-income families. Conversely, if job losses occur or hours are cut, some workers could be worse off. Vulnerable groups, including teenagers, minorities, and immigrants, might experience higher unemployment rates if employers reduce hiring or focus on experienced workers. The political landscape surrounding the minimum wage debate is deeply polarized. Raising the minimum wage to $20 per hour would require significant legislative efforts. Overcoming opposition from business groups and some lawmakers concerned about economic impacts, the debate touches on fundamental questions about the role of government, economic fairness, and how to balance growth with equity. International comparisons show a wide range of minimum wage levels across developed countries. Some nations have higher minimum wages than the US, adjusted for cost of living, while others pay less. Examining these examples can provide insights into the potential consequences and best practices for implementing wage increases. In conclusion, raising the minimum wage in the United States to $20 per hour is a transformative proposal with wide-reaching consequences. It offers the promise of reducing poverty and improving living standards for millions, but carries risks for employment, business viability, and economic stability. The reality would depend on how the increase is implemented, supported by policies on education, tax reform, and social welfare. Understanding the complexity of this issue is essential for informed debate and policymaking. Whether you support or oppose the idea, the discussion around the minimum wage reflects broader questions about economic justice, opportunity, and the future of work in America.